Okay, so we got 9 IP. So let's go and log in with that. So 192.168.0. Log in as a user, password. Here we go. So we'll read me bash. Okay. So we talked about the homework. Anybody did the homework? Any idea? Pardon? So anybody did the homework? Are you able to get the output? No? Yes? So silence means no. Silence doesn't mean yes. Okay, fine. So let's go further. So today we are going to talk about if statement. So today we are going to talk about if statement. So what is the if statement, right? So in real time, when you use the shell scripting, you have to take some decisions on the base of information. Now this if statement will help you to make that decisions. So that decisions, either the file is present or not, or the number is smaller than or greater than, or is the two strings are matching or not. All these kind of decisions you can take during the process. Okay, so if statement will help you to take decisions on the base of information. Now there are three different methods or style you can go and go with the with. So method one. So first is the if, then you will go with the bracket and then say condition. Then, and if the condition is true, we'll say go with the true block. We'll go with the command one, command two, and so on, and then you will go with the end of the command. Similarly, if you go with the method two, you will have two options. So we'll say if condition, then you'll go with that. Then the first is the true block, and then you'll again go with the command one and command two, and you'll say else. Now you'll have another block which is a false block, and then we'll say command three and command four, and you'll end with that. Okay. So what you're trying to achieve, you're trying to achieve different blocks with the different methods there. So true block and true and false blocks. That is how you will go along with the conditions there. We have another method which is a method three. So again, you will go with the same block. So we will go with that. Now, instead of else, we will go with the elif. And then the same thing, condition two. So here is the condition one. Here is the condition two. Then true block. Command 3 and command 4. Again, you'll go with the true block. Yes, please. So this one, right? This is correct. And not a typing mistake. Okay. So your if will always end with fi. So that is a style of bash. When you start something, you have to end with the reverse. So in case of like a case statement, you will say ESAC, something like that. We'll go with the reverse. So go with the condition 3, and then we'll go with that. Else, we'll say this is a false block. And then we'll go with that. 7, 8. So you have to write, or you can use these 3 different methods to understand what is happening here. So first is the just for a true block. Second method is for true and false. And third is for many true and 1 false. Okay, so you can go along with that. So done writing. Okay, we'll wait. Okay, so you can say yo when you finish. That will help to know that, okay, you go with that, right? Okay, yo, okay, let's go further. Now, we understood that if it is a true or false, we will have it. So what is the condition? What is this condition? Okay, it is an expression or combination of one or more expression. So what is the condition? So condition can, it is an expression or combination of one or more expressions. So it can be a single, it can be multiple, and it will always result in either true or false. So it will always result in either true or false. Okay, so that is what is expression. Now let's see how we can get these expressions. So expressions are there in 4 different forms. So you can run some tests, and that is your stuff. So expressions are in 4 different forms. Number 1, file test, string test, number test, and logical test. File test, string test, number test, and logical. Is clear? So let's start with the first test, which is a file test. So try to understand all of these tests one by one. So we'll go with the file test. Now, what is the file test? So a lot of things you can generate. If you say -f, check if the file is present or not. -d, check if the directory is present or not. You can say R, check the file or directory has read permission. W, check the file or directory has write permission or not. Execute, check the file or directory has execute permission or not. An S, check the file size is more than 0 bytes or not. So you can use various combinations. You can use this all the tests to perform the test there. Let me do something here. Now there are various tests. More than this also is available, but I'm just helping you to get the glimpse of that. What you have, what you can get out of that. Okay. So these tests are there. You can perform this test. So once you've done the writing, say yo. So we can go and we'll see the example of that. So I'll go to the script directory, our batch, DevOps batch 14, scripts directory, git status, everything is clean, yes, good. Now what we'll do, we'll copy the template and we'll say file test.sh. We'll say vi file test.sh to learn file test. Now we can take some example. Let's take an example of etc password file. You know why? What is the etc password file? It is a user information file, and we'll talk about etc shadow file. We'll work with these two files using this file test. So number one, check the /etc password file is present or not. That is the first check we will do. And second check we'll do, check the /etc password, shadow file has a read permission or not. We will do these two tests. Okay, so let's go one by one. So first say if -f to check the file. Which file? Password file. Hey, is the password file available? If it is true, it says yes. The file /etc password is present or available. And I'll say fi. Okay. So we'll check the etc password file present or not. That's the first test we will do. And we'll also do the second test. Check that read permission. So I'll say -r, check do we have read permission on the etc shadow file or not. Then echo yes. If it is true, then we'll say you have read permission on /etc shadow file. Else, you can say that echo no, you do not have read permission on the simple. So first we will go with the normal if method. Second, we will go with the so if it is true, then it will say yes, you have the read permission. If it is false, it will say no, you do not have read permission. Okay. So this is how you'll make the decisions. Hey, is the file is there? Yes or no. If the permissions are there? Yes or no. Whatever stuff. Shall we go? So logically, we need to take the decision, saying that yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, whatever stuff. True is there, do one thing. False is there, do one thing. Okay, let's go further. So I'll save that chmod plus x file test. So I'll give the execute permission to the file and then we'll execute. Ready, steady, go. File test. 1, 2, and 3. So what it says? It says yes, the file etc password is present. Let's go and check that. Yes, it's present. Now, what is the second? No, you do not have read permissions. Really? Let's go and check that. So, what is the permission? No permissions. No read permissions for you. Wow. So, our test is successfully running with that. So, this is clear what we are trying to do, right? So, we are testing the file is present or not, or the permission is there or not, or blah, blah, blah. Right? So, this is how you will write the script. Saying that, okay, I can now do the file tests and I can generate some conditions and I can go with that. Okay. So let's recap what we did once more time. So first we said, if the file is present, then give the message present. And if the read permission is there, say yes. If it is not, say no. Okay. True or false. If it is true, do one thing. If it is false, do another thing. Here, so we try to see both the example. First example is just a true example. Second example is with the true and false. So first is the method 1. Second example is the method second. So both examples we have saw, method 1 and method 2. Okay, now we will go with the string test. Let's talk about string test. So string test is very, very simple. You need to have two strings and you have to compare them. So it says string 1 is equal to string 2, or string 1 is not equal to string 2. Only two combinations are possible. Either it is yes or no or whatever stuff. So first is equal to, second is not equal to. Okay. So now for that you need two strings. What do you need? Two strings. Okay. So we will take an example that we will identify the user is root or not. We will write a script to identify the user is root or not. How to identify that a user is root or not? PWD, how it will know that it is a root or not? It is a directory. Okay, so that's one case that we have to see that dollar or hash. Okay, but how will it do with the script? See, we have to do with the script, right? Try to log in as a root. Then how will it detect that it's a root or not? See, our problem is not to log in with the normal user or log in with the root user. Our problem is detect which user we are. Either we are a root user or we are a normal user. How will it detect that? Correct. So we'll go with the who am I. So what is the command? Who am I? So which is the user? If I go with the sudo who am I, so what it will tell? You are the. So that is how we'll identify the user is a normal user or a super user. So if I say who am I, DevOps, and if I say sudo who am I, now we will use this method to detect the user is root or not. So we'll write a script and we will make use of this command in that script. So let's go with that. So I'll say copy template and I will say which test? String test.sh. I'll say string test. And what is the purpose? To learn string test. Okay. Now, how to run the command inside the shell script? How to run the command? So I can directly run the who am I, right? But where the output will go? Output will always go on the screen. But we want that output to be captured in variable. We want that output to be captured in variable. So how will you do that? So we'll say variable equal to this. But is it going to work? No, export is for defining the variable. We are not have to define the variable. We have to get the output of the command and give it to the variable. Any other method, we have learned that method. So dollar who am I, you are saying? Or you are saying dollar who am I? No, when you are defining a variable, what is the rule? You should not use dollar. So that is not the case. So what we do then? We have learned this. Remember something. Double quote, single quote, and backtick. So whenever we put the command in the backtick, what will happen? It will execute it. And then whatever the output is there, it will go to the variable. So I'll go with the backtick. Not here, here, here. So what happens? It will run the command, who am I? And then it will give whatever the output is there, it will give to the variable, who am I? Now we will use this variable and do the comparison. If I say if, don't write it down, we will write it in a better way. If, what is that we have to compare? String. So what is the first string? Who am I, the output? And you should compare with the root. Hey, is it a root? And say echo. If it's true, then what it says? Yes. Or we can say you are running, or you are dollar who am I user. If it is root, what it will say? You are root user. And if I say else, if I say echo, you are dollar who am I user. Now what it will say at this stage? If it is false, whatever the user you are running that script, it will tell the username there. That's all. Simple. Now you got this first string, you got the root as a second string, you are comparing, hey, is this root is matching with this root? If yes, say that you are a root user. If not, say as a simple. Let's go and see that. So I'll say chmod plus x string test. Okay. Now shall I run the script? Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. What it says? Because we are running that script as a normal user. Now I want to run that script as a sudo user. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. What it says? Good. So we are able to detect that are we a root user or a normal user. This clear? Okay. Now when you are writing a script, when I say who am I, On the command line, short form is okay. But in scripting, you don't have to use short form. You have to use the path of the command. So I'll say which, who am I? That means where is my command stored? The command is stored in this directory, user bin who am I. So I will copy this and I will put in my script. I need to get that, and always put a habit that don't just put the command, but put the, that way we know that this is the command and this is the variable. Is clear? So now you'll get the same result. If I run the command, the same result. Normal string, this is the DevOps, and if it's sudo, this clear? So now please write this down. Please write this down. So automatically you are detecting that the user is a normal user or root user. You don't have to do anything. So we are going with the string test and we are comparing two strings, saying that, hey, is it a root user or not? So any question, any doubt at this moment? Now we are trying to combine all our knowledge, what we have. Okay. Right? So you learn how to use the backtick now. Using backtick, you can fire some command and you can get the output of that command. Go with that. This clear? Very simple, right? Very straightforward. Okay. Now let's go with the number test. What are the number tests? So we know in the normal way, how we do the number test. If it is equal to, not equal to, or greater than, or less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. But in the shell, we cannot use these symbols. We have to use different ways. So in the shell, what do you say? Equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal. Please write this down. Right, so we'll get a better understanding. Okay, in the normal way you do, but with the shell we have to do with the stuff. Okay, so let's take an example. We want to, let's say, generate a student result, and we'll give some percentage. If the student percentage or marks is more than 65%, we will say it is a first class. If it is a greater than 55%, we will say second. If it is greater than 45, we will say third division. And if it is less than that, fail. Okay. So we will go with this script. We will write the script and we will do some number comparison and then we will go with that. Okay. So let's go and do that. So I will come out of the script. I'll again copy template with the number test.sh. Let's say we have number test.sh. Again going with the learning with the numbers. Number test. Okay. Now what we are expecting, we have to compare the marks. So we'll define a variable marks. So I'll say marks is equal to 75. Let's say I am defining the variable marks with equal to 75. Now I want to make some decisions on the basis of the marks. So what I will say, if, and I will compare the marks, and I will say if it is greater than 65, then we'll say echo student result. What is that student result? First class, right? Okay, first class, first division. Okay. If it is not there, then we'll say else if or elif. Then we'll say dollar marks are greater than how much? 55, right? Then what we'll do? We'll copy this line and paste here. So you say the second division. Then we'll copy these two lines and then paste it. And we'll what is the condition? 55. And the result is third division. And what is the last? You say else. Echo. What is the student result? What is the student result? Fail. Fail division. Okay, now last is the FI. So this is how you'll go with that, correct? Shall we go and check that script? Hyphen GT, where is the GT? Correct. So I'm just trying to see what is your observation. So when we are going with this greater than, is it going to work? It will not going to work. Why? Because in shell scripting, what we have to write? Hyphen GT. How you can write the greater than? We'll say hyphen GT. Here also a greater than. Here also greater than. That's why I said don't write it first. See, understand what we are doing here. So is it correct now? If mark is 75, so what is expected result? First division. Let's go and see that. So don't write, we'll write all these things. Say mod plus x number test. Okay, I'll run the number test. Ready, steady, go. What is the result? First division. That's what? Correct. Okay, let's open the file and change the marks. Now we'll say 57. Now let's go and run that. Second division, correct. Then I will say, hey, that student has marked 2 marks. What is the expected result? Right? So that means our logic is working correctly. Our logic is working correctly. This is clear? So we are just comparing the numbers and we are generating the result. Now we are using the third method. If, elif, and else method. This is clear? So please write this down. Very simple. Okay, done writing. Done writing. So not saying yo. Okay. Okay. So, but in real time, this may not be a good practice. Why? Because if any time when I change the number, I have to open the script, change the number, run the script, open the script, change the number, run the script. So what you will do, you will run the script something like that. So you will say dot number test and I will give the marks here. Or I can give the name of the student, or I can give the date of birth of the student, or something, some data. So when we are giving the data along the command line, it is called as passing value by arguments. What is that? It is called as passing value by argument. So what is the passing value by argument? When you are giving some data along with the script name on command line, that is called passing value by argument. Now, how many arguments you can do? You can say number test, for example, my script name, then argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, and so on. Up to 9 arguments you can give. How many arguments you can give? 9 arguments. Now that argument it should be space separated. The arguments need to be space separated. You can give maximum 9 arguments, and it can be either character, string, number, file name, so on. Right. Okay, now let's focus on the screen. So by default, shell will give some number to that. So this is the 0, this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, and this is a, and inside the script, what it says, it will refer this as a $0, $1, $2, $3, and up to $9. So when you refer these arguments inside the script, it will refer with what? $0, $1. So what is the $0? It is a script name. What is the $1? First argument. What is the $2? Second argument. What is $3? Third argument, and so on. Okay. Now let's go and see our example. When I say 75, inside what it should happen? What is the 75? It's the first variable, right? What is the first variable? It is a $0, $1, $2, $5. What is that? $1, right? So inside the script, we will treat as a $1 because that position is a first position. So let's open the script and write it something. Now instead of marks equal to 2, I will say, hey, remove that, and I will say $1. I will say $1. So whatever given at the first position, it will automatically assign it to the marks variable. That's all. Very simple, right? That is a powerful way of passing the data on the arguments. So you will only do the one change, that is marks is equal to the position value. Which position you want to go with that, right? So only one change. So you'll say marks is equal to $1. Why we have said $1? Because we are interested in the first argument. Which argument? First argument, right? So let's go and save that now. That's all. So now we'll run number tests. How much marks? You see that? What is it saying? First division. If I say marks 57, yes. If I say 48, third division. And if I say 5 marks, see now it is very easy for me to give the value and get the result. Right? I don't have to open the script, change the value, save the script, run the script. Directly on the command line, I can keep on executing that. So this is clear. What is the passing value by argument? So that position value you will use inside the. Now suppose you give another, like I say name, what will happen? We have not used that $2 anywhere, so it will ignore that. It will ignore that. It will not fail. It will ignore that. The result will fail because of the marks. If I say 99 marks, okay, we see that it's going with. But it will ignore the name because we have not used the name as an argument. Is clear? But if I want to use that name, I need to modify my script. Is clear? Okay, so that is all about the number test. Is clear? Good. Let's go further. Okay. Now, what is the test remaining? Logical test or logic test. We can say anything. Now, in shell, we have 3 logics. One is the AND logic, one is the OR logic, and one is the NOT logic. And it is represented in different ways. AND is going with the -A, OR is going with the -O, and then NOT will go with the hyphen. So it will go with the exclamation mark. It is not going with the hyphen. Okay, it will go with the exclamation mark. Now don't write it, we will write it all the things. So first understand what we are trying to achieve here. So when we are going with the AND logic, we need minimum 2 inputs. How many inputs? 2 inputs. So we say input to A and input B. A and B are the input, O as the output. So when the input is false, both inputs are false, output is false. When input is one is true, another is false, output is false. If one is false, other is true, the output is false. And when both are true, output is true. That is a simple logic. We learn this mathematics, all these things in 10th class. But same we are going to use here. Same we are going to use here. So I'll copy this. I'll copy this, so all lines I'll put in the OR. and the condition will little bit change. In the OR, if the two inputs are false, output is false. But in any input is true, it is true. That is a change. And what about NOT? So NOT will only take one input. How many inputs? One input. One input, one output. And what is that? If the input is false, the output is true. If the input is true, output is. So this clear? So please write it down. Logical test. Very simple, right? So shall we see that? You see something interesting. Let's go and see that. Okay, so we will go one by one test. Now, give me a second. So we will use this logical test. We'll use the same example as number test. So I'll copy this number test as a logical test.sh. Yeah, logical test.sh. Okay, now let's go and understand what is that. So we will use all these and or not or something. Let's say, for example, if you have this logical test, if you give 75 marks, it is giving the result. But if I forget to give something input, what will happen? What will happen? What is the result we are expecting? If I press enter right now, without giving the marks, what will happen? Some say zero, some say message, something say, okay, let's go and see that. So it will show the error. It's saying that, hey, I am doing a number comparison greater than 0, greater than 65 something. I don't find a second number. So it is failing, failing, failing. And that's why it is ultimately failed. Okay. Now we will use the logical NOT operation to test this condition. Hey, is the mark is given or not? So we'll protect ourselves. So let's go with the logical test. So here below, I will say if dollar marks are not given, then what we have to say? 10 echo, please enter the marks. And I'll say exit. Exit means stop the script there and then itself. Don't go further. Because without mark, we cannot make decisions. So we will stop our script there and then itself. So don't write now. Don't write it now. We will write everything in next. So this is clear? So what we say is, if the marks are not given, then give the message, please enter the marks. Let's go and see that. So I'll go and I'll say, hey, 48 marks. I'll get, sorry. I'll go and run and I'll give 48 marks. I see the third division, correct. But if I now give no marks, what will happen? It has protected us, saying that please enter the marks. What do you say? If the marks are not defined or not given, print this message, please enter the marks. Good. That's a logical, not a test. But suppose somebody has given this mark, what will happen? Let's go and see that. Because it is greater than, simple, right? But is this logically correct? No, we should have marks between 1 to 100. So what we'll do now, we will use the OR logic, and we'll say that if the marks are between 100, or we can go with the condition saying that less than 1, don't go further. If the number is greater than 100 or less than 1, don't do anything there. Okay, let's go and see that. Okay, so what is the next? I will say if. Now I'll compare the marks. If the dollar marks is greater than 100, or if the marks are less than 1, then echo, please enter the marks between 1 to 100. And then I'll say exit. So we are using OR logic here. See, we are using OR logic. If this or this, if any condition is there, complain. Okay, let's go and see that. So I'll give that bigger number now. You see that? Please enter the marks. Good. If I say 0 marks, good. Okay. Is clear? So this is how you will put the boundary conditions to your script using the logical tests. Now, which test is remaining? And test. Let's go and do that. We'll go with that. Now here we will put something good condition. If the marks is greater than 65, and if the marks are less than or equal to 100, right? So that is a condition. Same thing you can go with here. Marks are less than or equal to 65. So we'll go with the second division. So you can put whatever the conditions you want, but just an example. Dollar marks is less than or equal to 55. Good. So we have used the AND condition also now. So we are tightly saying that if the mark should be in between 65, that means 66 and 100, then it is the first division. Because greater than 65 is what? 66, right? 66 and 100. Let's it go. So if I give the boundary conditions, 65, what is the stuff? Which division it will be? Yes, it will be the second division. Why? Because we say 65 greater than or less than or equal to 100. Is clear? So depend on your condition. If you want to modify, no, you want to include that 65 in the first class, then what you will do? You'll change your boundary condition. You'll say hey, not greater than 65, but you will say greater than 64, and it should be less than or equal to 64. Then you will say that it is a. So it depends on your boundary conditions. You have to define that conditions. So now if I go with the 65 marks, it says clear. It's in your hand. What do you want to do with that conditions? Is clear? Okay, now please write down the script. So logical test, right? Yes. So please write the script. So I'll be back in a minute. So okay, now what we did all this settings and everything is correct. So let's say git status. So now we have these 4 files today. What we created: file test, string test, number test, and logical. So what we will do? We will have those things in the git. So let's say git add status, git commit -m, working with if and tests. Okay, so we'll go with that. Status, git log, line. So now we have a lot of things there. So let's upload this on our server so you can also access. So yesterday we created your account with the username and password. So password you know very well. So let's go with that. Let's see if we can access the server. Now, what is the IP? 192.168.0.50 git bucket. Let's go and see that. Ping 192.168.0. Yes, pinging. So that means we should be able to access the server. Git bucket. Yes, so we'll be able to get that. So I'll sign in with my name. And yes, so we have the batch 14, right? I'll click on that. So currently it is an empty repository. So what I will do, I will select and I will say, hey, do the git remote. So previously we have the git remote on something else. Git remote. Yes, so we have the local machine. So we'll go with the server. Now I'll say git remote and rm origin. I'll remove that origin. It's a git remote. And now we have to add it. So I'll leave that. And what is the username? My username I'll use. And the IP address and so on. So I'll say git remote -v. Yes, now we are pointing to the server. So let me upload all the files. So what is the date today? Is the correct date and time? Yes. So I'll say git push -u. I'm on the right branch. So branch. Yes, so we are on the master branch. I'll say git push -u origin master. Right? And I'll use the server password. Yes, so all the files are now available to the server. Let's go and click on that. Good. So now these all files, whatever the programs we have written so far, is available on the Git server. So you can download and you can work with that. Okay. So let's see that your account is there or not. Collaborators. So check your name is there available. A Vijay, B Niraja, these, that, all the people there. Right? So we have all the members. Check your name is there or not. Your name was not there. Is there, right? Any member is missing here? Any member is missing here? No, right? So all members are here. Good. So now all you can access the files on these machines. So if you go to the script, you can see that we have all the files also today's string test, number test, file test, and all the things we are available now available on the server. So you can copy, paste, download, modify, whatever you want, you can do with that. It is available with you there. Is clear? Good. Now it's time for homework. Let's go with that. Homework. Number 2. So daily we'll have one homework for you, right? So create a script to take backup of /etc directory. Okay. The backup output file should be in /backup directory. The backup output file name should be, so today is what, 27, so it says 20 etc 27 September 2017.tar.gz. If you take backup tomorrow, it should automatically give the name as the date of whatever that's. Okay, etc 29 September. So this is what you have to create using shell script. And if the file, the backup, the output backup file is already exists, do not run the backup again. So this is very simple homework. You have to get the etc directory. You have to take a backup in the backup folder, and the name of the backup should be the folder name, date, and the tar.gz. Hint: use date, tar, and gzip command. Inside your script, you should use this command: date, tar, and gzip. So this clear? So my request is, please practice this, because all these things is important. These are the basic building blocks. So if you start practicing, you'll understand where you're making the mistakes, where you're having the problems, and we will try to fix those problems. So today we will stop here. So I'll request try all the examples with the file test, number test, logical test, string test, and so on. If you want, you can create your own examples and experiment with that. Okay, and those scripts are available on the system. Okay, so today we'll stop here. Thanks for all your time. One more thing. Okay, so we will have that. Thank you for the members who are online. So we'll stop here today.